Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for all the pre-recorded videos. And hello. And I would like to invite the moderator and the three panelists to come forward for the discussion. And also, if you have any question that you would like to ask, please use the Zoom chat to send me a direct message to me, and we'll collect all the questions and ask them without mentioning your name. Okay, so I will pass the time to Patsy Ho.
Thank you, Dr. Hagen, and also thanks for inviting all of us to this conference. It's an honor to speak with the three gentlemen. Just very quickly introduce myself. This is Patsy from Citymapper. So we are a journey planner helping people getting from A to B using public transport and other shared mobility in more than 100 cities right now. So we started in Hong Kong in 2015. We have been facing more challenge in Hong Kong in the past few years. I think before I go to the question to the gentlemen, I just very quickly highlight my observation that when we are operating in that amount of cities, I think Hong Kong is very unique in terms of public transport system. I think we have the highest utilization rates of public transport across the globe. And we are in a very dense city. We are very special geographic because our people are living in different parts of the city rather than like a spider network. We have a very different business model of public transport. I think Kenneth mentioned that in his video as well. We have private operators, including they own their access as opposed to many other private operators in other parts of the world. So it gives us a lot of challenge in Hong Kong in terms of public transport and also sharing open data. But I do believe that this kind of environment, Hong Kong people are quite familiar with, and it actually encourages a lot of innovation as well. So today we are here to talk about what can we do, like what kind of possibility we can find from the open data in public transport system. So my very first question, before I keep asking why you don't do that and why you don't share with me the data, I really want to give an opportunity to our operators here to help us understand what exactly is the challenge when you try to open up your data. What hurdle would you face externally and internally as well? Maybe I would just very quickly ask Jean in MTR, I think because bus operator already share their timetable these days, but we are still waiting for MTR to share the timetable. So can you shed some light on what's the challenge on your side?
Actually, I didn't know that. Yeah, the timetable is well, yeah, it's of such importance. But I think what is actually happening, I think in MTR is that a lot of times we work very closely with the government to open up the data and provide the data that would be needed, right? And this for the longest time, I think basically the way that the team is structured here is to work on the operations of MTR, and there isn't I feel that there's not enough effort that is used on place on really working on the data format, and I feel that there needs to be more resources to dedicate on here, and also basically have people to really focus on pushing better quality data. So this is definitely something is work in progress, and it's also something I am pushing for in MTR, and hopefully you can see some changes soon.
Great. So maybe Kenneth, you can share your experience in opening up the data as well.
Okay. As mentioned in the previous video, that we have already opened data since 2019. So before that, maybe some obstacle found by Pepsi. So when they discuss about with us before 2019 about to open data, I admit that we have some reservation about this because actually the ETA data, the most the public will want to is know the arrival time of the buses. At that time, we have also our own mobile apps. At the time, I remember that we have some advertising revenue in this if the passenger use our mobile app to check for the data time. So at that time, we have some restoration. Is it when we open the data to the public, whether the app revenue will be lost a lot? We are not sure at that time because maybe I mean that some passenger may not feel happy when they use see there's so much so many the advertisement in the app, but please remind that we have to get some unfair revenue to support our business. So you know that all the data according to in the R&D and maintenance and keep it accurate, all of them cost a lot of money. So we will try the best to get some revenue back to support this. So but in the later stage, our mindset have been changed. Maybe or the major payer is because from the government they want us to provide more data to the public. So at that time, we the first one to sign the memorandum. So afterwards, actually we saw that the revenue from the advertisement is keeping a stable level. So this is our change to open the data to the public.
So can I say that the government's blueprint or like a wider picture of the smart city roadmap is really a motivation for the operators to open up their data, and also the clarity of not losing your revenue stream is also another motivation.
Yes, definitely, because when the government issued the blueprint, that we can see the clear roadmap in the future. Maybe in the first in the early stage there's some loss, maybe from revenue or from other channels, but at the end when we saw that, when we can observe this is a clear roadmap, we can in the forward, then we can increase our operation efficiency, maybe generate more revenue from the public when they carry more buses. So that it is a more, we can have a vision behind in the forward. So this is yes, this is the point that push up or motivate us to get some more open data to the public.
Sounds great. So Ricky, on your side, are you able to share the vision of the smart city, especially on the transport side, that it will encourage Jin and Kenneth and other operators to give us more details about their data as well?
Yes, I can say something. Actually, as the government, we have a role actually to facilitate and push forward the smart city development. On this end, I know most of citizens would like to have more higher quality transport data. And for us, actually, that's why I think in the past few years, actually, we actively try our best to persuade one by one company to open up their data. And you can see now we have some fruitful outcome that at least a majority of the picture of the public transport data is available. But I'm not satisfied, only satisfied at this stage. And what is you're talking about what is our vision? Actually, we just want more data to provide it to the citizen. They will choose their best way of the moving, the way they how to move. But for the operator, we also want to make a picture is this. It is if we provide a high quality data to the citizen, they will choose the best transport mode. Actually, in some sense, they will encourage more people to use public transport. It is our prime objective because you know traffic congestion is a serious problem in Hong Kong. So if we can do anything that can make people make more use of the public transport, then actually is one of our success.
Yeah, I can actually see another hidden message in what you just said, Ricky, is if you're confident enough in your surface, which is the best surface, you should open up your data because people would know your surface is the best one and they will pick your surface.
Yes, but I think they have the transport operator, they have the many consideration, but it is our thinking actually. Yes, because in some sense, because I is also a very frequent public transport user. If I know actually if some means of public transport is available very soon, then I will pick this opportunity. So I will not take the taxi or okay, just wait a few minutes, can take that bus. So I think it can encourage me to use more public transport.
Yeah, but I think apart from serving the citizen, of course, that's the highest priority of transport department. But at the same time, Kenneth also mentioned that he's also looking forward in the blueprint about how the open data can help them improve the operational efficiency. From that perspective, would transport department has any roadmap or any idea about opening up more data on your side, not the operator side, to help them achieve that?
I think we will try our best to open as many as possible of the traffic data. That's why, for example, government invests a lot of money to build or to install the traffic detector on the major road. This one I mentioned in my presentation. So everyone, general citizen, app developer, they will know more about the real-time traffic condition on each road. So it will facilitate different people to develop their solution to maybe a logistic one, maybe just a transport mode. They can make use of this data to plan their business. This is just an example. And what I mentioned in my slide as well, it is we go into put in the area of the big data. That means we not only to produce more data of it, we want to improve its quality. Or maybe it will have some inference. For this one, I also like to mention, actually, I know the public transport operator maybe have some concern on their data because of some commercial element in this data. So I hope the government, particularly transport department, will be a trustful partner to them. We have no interest on the commercial business, actually. Our aim is just to provide high quality data to the public. So if some data provided to the government, they can trust, we can make use of some technology to hidden or to not disclose the commercial sensitive data, but still can provide some useful information to the public. This is one of the areas that we want to go together with the operators.
Yeah, I want to talk a little bit more about this commercial sensitivity issue as well. For Jean and Kenneth, I think Kenneth, you mentioned there are some commercially sensitive data you might be very hesitant to share. But I think in practice, do you prefer the government to play that role, like what Ricky just said, be an trusted partner to aggregate all this data, erase any commercially sensitive information and then release it? Or you would actually prefer the operators themselves will figure out a platform or something to release the data, so you guys might have full control. The reason I ask that is we did have a successful history in that, which is Octopus. You guys developed this payment platform among yourself without the government intervention. So I'm curious, do you prefer the government to play a stronger role, or the industry can help yourself get a way out?
I think both of them can be also accessible. It depends on which can be go first. Maybe I talk a little bit more about the sensitive data. So as maybe public will concern what kind of sensitive data of us. Actually, rather than the ETA, we have other data which can know which you can get for the occupancy, for the bus, something, it is more sensitive. For example, if every buses the occupancy will share to the public, then maybe some other transport operator can read it and get it easy to know the pattern of the passengers, so that they may adjust their departures or adjust their service to get something from it. So as the video I said already about in Hong Kong, actually the public transport are also highly in the sense of in the competition. Not like the Western Europe, Western countries, they are maybe the public transport is scared, so that only one type of transport you can get on one point. So we have the concern about this, and also such that this is maybe in reality, we have to think about the future development of the public transport. As more and more railway will be launched soon, as Shinzo already know about this. So we have to face the reality that we have to adjust our service according to the demand, especially for the bus service, such that each time we need to think about how to provide using the data to coordinate with other public transport operator or the government to let them know what's the travel pattern of the public from changing from the new town development, and we developed some old areas, such that we can provide the service just to meet the service demand. So in simple that we are both welcome for the both methods mentioned by Patty. So whether we have cooperated with other PT, or we have TD or even government have a bigger role to consolidate all the data, we are welcome. But we are looking forward to see whether after we get the data, we provide the data, what can be benefit to us in the operation or even in the transport planning.
Yeah, I can share a little bit of the perception from MTR side. So, like for the longest time, right? I think like we have been, well, if I use an analogy, we have been walking, right? And we are getting very, very good at walking. But in today's world, we can actually start running, but we haven't developed the muscle to run yet. And we are actually all learning how to actually run, right? And this is like, from what I see in this point of, from my point of view, is that in order to learn how to run, right, we need to basically develop new muscles to do that. And we are actually now all like trying to figure out how to like run essentially. And like, so there is a lot of trial and error in place, and we need to know how to work with each other. And I think whether this effort is driven by government or private, we ultimately want to really move Hong Kong to be a smarter city, right? And to basically help more Hong Kong people take public transport. And like, so, you know, from what I see is that because we have been, you know, walking for a very long time, a lot of our teams, the way they are built, is built for walking, but not for running. So like, you know, I think basically what we need to start opening up our mindset is to like, there potentially will be change in the skill set that is involved in our respective teams to basically help Hong Kong run towards becoming a smart city.
I see your point, but Jean, I guess the question is, how do you want to develop that muscle for running? Do you want to develop for yourself, or you want some help from the government to develop it? Which is preferred, and why?
You know, I think definitely, like, I think the government actually driving it is good. And for us, we also want to improve our customer experience, right? Whether they are taking the MTR or not, we want to be able to provide the most accurate information to the public. So this is definitely our new channels now to provide this information, because previously, you know, before the internet or mobile internet, like, you know, there are only like very limited channels, but now there are many new ways to convey that information, and we are actually exploring all these different channels to get the passenger information out.
Drilling a bit into the data type that you consider sensitive, that you need this platform and governments help to figure it out. I think from a layman perspective, I think it's quite hard to understand why some of these are sensitive information. Like, because if I am a normal passenger, I can already see the route information, timetable, and even change of service and ETA. They are all available everywhere. So why, when it comes to data sharing, it becomes sensitive in some sense? Jean or Kenneth?
Maybe I first. Actually, we are sharing all the data to the public. You can see the ETA, the schedule, the timetable. We are released to the public actually. So nowadays, most app developer using the open data source provided in the government. Actually, the data is provided by us, so they can make the good apps, and they develop some apps is tailor-made for their users. So I previously mentioned about the sensitive data. What we have still right now in our data house, but it's not shared to the public, is one of them maybe, for example, is the occupancy, the real-time occupancy for all the buses. So this is kind of really sensitive for us. If we are, if all the public can check all the times, all the occupancy for all the buses, such that this is maybe a great effect to us, just like a shop. We have 1,000 shops, then everyone can know that what's the sales on record for all the buses or all the shops for a company. Such that then we have a concern about this. This is one of the sensitive data we may think about. Rather than that, we already opened it to the public. This is.
From our side, like, yeah, we actually don't have that much concern on the sensitivity of the data that we've opened up. I mean, we've opened it up, and as you can see on Ricky's presentation, we'll be opening up the light rail real-time data as well. So from our perspective, I think, you know, a lot of the data that we open up is not sensitive. And it's really to enable, to help people to take the modes of transport that we operate. And I would think that, you know, if there is any kind of sensitive data that we would be considering to open up, obviously we will need to have more internal discussion to look into that. But at this moment, yeah, I don't see any kind of sensitive data being actually opened up or being considered opening up.
Great. That sounds like good news to me, because you guys actually don't consider a lot of data are sensitive. I think apart from the occupancy data is a little bit concerning. But at the same time, I do, from my perspective, it's like if you are opening up it at the same time for all the public, it shouldn't be that sensitive. I don't know, because if from the point of the public also need that information to monitor the quality of the service the operators is providing, and maybe transport department also need that kind of data to monitor the service level as well. From that perspective, I do think it is something that should be made available. So maybe Ricky, you can shed some light on how do you want to use those information in monitoring the service as well from a regulator's perspective?
Maybe I can take an example, because particular for the case of the green minibus, you can say we are the developer, because we build not even the data, we build the system, we install the equipment, we collect the data and open it up. And it involves many operators, different company policy. This very complex task for us in the sense of the open data. For this example, our experience, it is we try to provide as many information as possible to the public. But we must provide some incentive to the operator as well. For example, we build a system so that we can enhance their management ability. Maybe some small company, they do not know how their minibus operate on the road. Now they know they can track their location. They know their frequency, take how long they can plan their journey, all this operation data. For this, we will keep all this data just provided to the respective owner, operator. We will not disclose it to the general public. It's collected from our system, but we are not opening it up because we know this is the business operation data. For this model, just like this, what I mentioned, government is not intended to open up all the data from the public transport operator. We just want to open up some essential information to the general public. It's akin, but during this process, government can take part and encourage and track more people to join this journey. What in my terms, join this journey. This is one of the issue. For the regulator point of view, certainly, if we know about the operation of the green minibus, for example, we receive complaint, say, okay, there's a missing bus or anything. Why the minibus come so long without appear? Then we have some record to trace. For the regulator point of view, we will gather more information. Certainly, we will do a lot of investigation and verification work. But for the first hand, we will connect some information that in the previous, we can just receive the complaint and then go out to have an inspection. But now, whenever the complaint comes in, we will have a certain kind of information available that we can have a discussion. Then for our point of view, we can improve the service. Maybe they have encountered some physical problem, but at least we will have a common data to discuss. So it is for us, it is benefit to our monitoring and also benefit to the operation of the operator.
I think it's interesting that, Ricky, you bring up green minibus, because I think the occupancy data is actually more important for green minibus comparing with the double-decker buses, because we have limited seat on the minibus. If the minibus is full, there's nobody can get in, not even standing. So is there any? And I also understand that it will be commercially sensitive because the green minibus companies might not want to open up the occupancy. But can you talk about, is it something in discussion, and what's the real concern from the operators of green minibuses to open up the occupancy?
I think the concern, I think just Kenneth said, what you mentioned, actually there's just limited space in a green minibus. So all this data is highly sensitive to them. So I've heard different views from different operators. That's what I mean. It is a lot different type of operator for the green minibus operation in this trade. It's very difficult to get a consent. First of all, consent. I cannot say what is our discussion or anything at this moment, but you can imagine it's very difficult to give a consent on the whole trade to get things. We cannot just maybe we just open up a few line, a route, but the other without. It's not the way to do it. It would just destroy the trust in some sense. But it depends on different people to have seen this issue. But for example, at least for now, we have because detecting about the vacancy of in the green minibus is also a technical issue problem. So that's why we have started a technical study to how to detect the vacancy of the green minibus first at this moment. So our attitude is we is open to us. We want more information provided to the general public, but we will build it step by step. Now we build it on the technical feasibility first, and then the management side, commercial view, all these things. So, but for my thinking, it will take a few years at least. But as the first step, we just open up the ETA first, and let all the green members have this information. When they are accustomed to open up their data, maybe they feel more comfortable. Just like Cam said, something you must happen first, and then you see the result, and you have confidence to share. You cannot ask them to open up all their data on the first day. I think it's not realistic. This is what I oppose the government doing.
Yeah, of course, you can't ask them to open it at the first day, but at the same time, when you are building it step by step, what's the end game in your roadmap? I think you have to build towards something, right? So is it the end game going to open it up to the public to a certain extent, or because we also talk about how to use the data to improve operator the efficiency, and also Jean and Kenneth keep talking about, oh, we should work together with each other through this platform. So I think minibus red and green are really an important player in this game. So how can we channel this kind of open data for MTR and the bus operators to work together and figure out a better transport system for Hong Kong?
Yes, so what I mentioned, actually, we are the role as a partner, so as I mentioned. We respect our partner, just I respect all the operator of the green minibus. It's not the decision or only the vision just put by the government. We must have a mutual agreement, trust before we can go forward. So I think it is the way we are doing it.
Great. Cool. Shall we invite one question from the floor? So I think this is for Kenneth. So a participant is working in the air and noise quality area. So he or she would like to obtain some real-time location of the buses, or so that it will help his or her projects. So are they available right now, or is Neuro First Bus Bravo can support that at the moment?
At the moment, we don't have. If I think is right, the participant may ask for the actual bus location. I'm sorry that we are not available to open this kind of data to the passenger yet or the user yet, because most of the users just want to know the coming buses, the arrival time at that stop, such that we provide this kind of data. And in our apps, we provide the 3 coming buses for the each route. So that is the data we can offer to the public right now. So is a bit concern or a bit more data required that if we release all the bus position to open data for all the buses all the time. So we have to further study about this.
I see. So can you drill a little bit more? I know it might be too technical, but what exactly is the difference from your point of view about opening up the ETA and opening up the real-time location? Because I think you are using a real-time location anyway to derive the ETA, right?
Yeah. I think that's the needs of the public. For example, if you most of the passenger will just want to know when the buses will come, instead of they want to see on the map what's the bus in the actual position, because the actual position doesn't mean something in a different period of the time. For example, in the morning peak, you can see in the bus in the map maybe a 500 meters away, but actually it spend you about 20 minutes to your bus stop. But on the other hand, at night, 500 meters maybe mean 30 seconds later, such that I think most of the public will want to know what is the time except approximately will come to the bus stop. So that this is the reason why the estimated time of arrival We use our own logic, and also we, according to the past experience and all the past statistics, to using different algorithm to run out what's the time we will come in the different time of the day. So this is a difference of we provide the ETA, or we provide the actual bus position to the public.
Yeah. Okay. I can see we come from different perspectives, because I think you really think about what the passenger need in terms of information. But when we come to the data, I think first of all, there are many players that will want the data for different purposes. So that's why some of them, like what these participants just asked, he or she is working on something else, and he want the spatial data of the bus pattern or bus route pattern or the real-time location for other purposes. It's not really about when the bus is arriving. So maybe that's how why we need different type of data. So maybe that's for something for your consideration for the future. I think even from Citymapper perspective, to be fair, we also use real-time location in many other cities, not just for deriving the real-time, the arrival time. We use it for try to understand is it there a traffic on the road? Is there a disruption because there is an accident and then the bus is diverted somewhere? So this kind of information would be different from the ETA itself. So I think that might be a very useful information to release if you can.
Get it. We actually we also maybe as mentioned by Ricky, we have to think about step by step, not just going in one day. We have to think in the future, in the long run, how this kind of data can be benefit to the all. Because actually I said before that is a lot of investment and R&D, and then keep the maintenance. Even maybe the public know that you already have a fleet management system, or the bus position is available now. But what the sense is, we use the portal to handle by ourselves to monitor the bus service, or we release it to all the public is two stories. We have to keep the store to the data. If we send it out to the public, it's accurate and reflect the real situation, instead of we provide something maybe the data quality is not is not to the standard level. So this is more concern, which we have the more consideration about this when we really have to put it to the public.
Yeah, sure. Another question from the floor, which is quite interesting as well, is about digital twin for smart district. I think it's mainly about digital twin of Hong Kong. So can Hong Kong, or why can't Hong Kong have a digital twin like Singapore and Dassault system, like have done with the virtual Singapore? And how can the government and the developer build the trust, apart from using blockchain, to share the data required to build the digital twin that could be accessible by NGOs, academics, startup, and others? So I guess it's for Ricky. Is anything about digital twin discussed in the government and transport department?
I think I don't know who asked this question, but I think the participant should know or are aware, or maybe I can say it is actually the government is building a common spatial data platform. Actually, this is about to store all the geo-related information in an open platform that everyone can access to it. This now is in operation. Certainly, there's not too many now, but the data set is already building up. From understanding, actually, they have already put 3-dimensional pedestrian walking route there. They also have a 3D city view there. I know there's a plan that by 2022, about the time, there will be a 3D city map produced there. So it's closer to the digital twin, but it's not. I know it's not the full, because digital twin is also involved some normal we call the BIM model. It's many things. It's more than just a map. There's more things need to put in there. For example, the building details, every details we need to put in there. So that platform is an open platform. The government is inviting the people who have interest that the join to have a discussion, collaboration, all these things. So I think we are going towards this end, but we are now just what I say is on the journey, but we have already start the journey.
Sounds great. I think maybe I'm not quite sure, but and also maybe distract a little bit, but the walking network is actually a very important part of the transport network.
Yeah.
That we keep forgetting about. In that sense, Hong Kong is also in a very interesting space, which is we have a lot of shopping malls. We have a lot of walking network between transport system like bus stop. So you will walk a lot when you go from a bus stop to an MTR station. Yeah. So I think in that sense, I'm curious whether, Jean, you can share anything or any thoughts about the indoor working network within any, because MTR has the shopping mall property as well. I'm not quite sure it is part of your business, but if you, because one of the data we are really missing here in Hong Kong is the indoor walking network. And I'm not quite sure that's something that Transport Department can get hold of because it's completely private property. Is there any chance we can get that kind of information?
So, yeah, that is that is a question I have as well. I mean, obviously, for navigating inside like shopping malls, this is something that the property team has been working on and helping the people inside the shopping mall get around. There are different technology that are used there, but in terms of how to actually share the pathways type of information and open that up, I don't think the team has really explored this area, like in terms of like open data. We also would actually like to know what would be the standard, right, for Hong Kong in this space. Like, I think if there is a standard, I think it's best that we all follow that standard so that everything would be interconnected ultimately. Like, I don't think like we should try to push for everyone to adopt our standard, right? So if there's a standard that we can connect to the pathways that are outside in the public and how these let's say pavements or pedestrian bridges like link into the shopping mall, we would definitely be interested to look into that.
Jean, in terms of standard, do you mean the data format, or what standard are you referring to?
Yeah. I mean the data format. How these should be described in terms of like open data. Yeah.
I'm not sure, but Kenneth, do you think this kind of walking network will be useful for the bus operators to plan their service as well?
Certainly. The passenger have to walk to the bus stop from no matter where you are. So we also facing this problem when we have most of that, we have the research engine, no matter in MPL, in e-transport, or in our app. But however, it's not very clearly defined the passenger path. We just use the approximate with direction to show the path. But in the reality, if you can travel to the shorter distance, normally you will attract more passengers to get on a bus. But if we can't get this kind of information, we just simply use the longer distance than in the realistic. So the public will not get on a bus if they need to walk about 10 minutes maybe. If they in actual they just run for 5 minutes in a shortcut. So some kinds is out of our effort to make it very accurate work path, so that is highly related on maybe in TD or in some other developer to get a more accurate working path estimation or actual path they can show to the public to our bus stop.
But at the same time, I do think the lens department have a data set of walk path. I think, Ricky, if you know more, you can supplement.
Yeah, actually, I think I'm not certain about what your question is about. If you are talking about the whole city, every shopping mall is now not available. But I mean if there is the major walking corridor is already say is open to the public, then currently the 3D walking network provided by lens department is already available. For example, particularly the MTR station, through the current 3D walking network, there's some routes showing that you can pass through the MTR station, go to the other side of the road. It's already available. It's already implemented in our app, Hong Kong e-mobility. When you search some location, you can, this app will not like the other plan of the application to ask you to walk on the peripheral of a building. It will direct you to go through a strict path, but it's restricted to say that path it is under the lease. It is open to public 24 hours, something like some condition. And also in the 3D walking network, there's some, for example, some escalator is operated in a certain hour, just certain hour. The walking network is already reflected in certain period. That path is available, but in certain period, because of the direction and because that escalator is not in operation, so it will show the other path. So this kind of feature is already built in, but it's not, I'm not saying it's not about the whole city, it's every piece of the place, but it's already in some place or some routes is already included in the current network. So you can study further in the detail of this. And the walking network is maintained and provided by the lens department. They do a very fantastic work in this aspect.
Yeah, so maybe we can all look into it. But at the same time, if the data is available, but not many people knows, even people in the industry may not have all the details, that might mean that we need some more communication channel between the data provider and the user as well.
Okay.
Yeah, to follow up on the data format part of the question, I think so lens department apparently have one set of data formats. And then there's a lot of different data format out there in the world as well. I think one opinion from myself is if we can try to align and go to one standard. I don't know who should follow who, but I don't think it can change the world. So maybe it's actually better to use the wider use formats like OpenStreetMap format or any other map spatial map formats as well. So that will make the data even more useful.
But what I just mentioned, because the government is now building that, we are already aware about the data standard format is very important to the development of the whole industry and every developer. That's why the government is building the infrastructure that what I call is the common spatial data infrastructure. Actually, under this project, actually, even within the government currently, maybe each department have different set of format of data about the same spatial information. This project is particularly ask all the department to standardize our standard and then to match it, and then we will open to the public. And then I think all of the developer in Hong Kong in future, you can rely on this common spatial infrastructure standard. I'm not sure too detail of it, but I think it will not too far away from what you call the international standard. But certainly on the map level, because the government has our own map, so I think it's more likely that we'll be based on that map.
Great. I think there's a floor question for myself. Okay, I'm the moderator. But yeah, I'll happily answer that. Is Citymapper intending to integrate the 3D pedestrian map of Hong Kong in their app? I mean, we are studying, like what Kenneth just said, because as I said, in the data format is a real hurdle. We are not using, first of all, we are operating in many different parts of the world. So we are building a system that can comply with data format used in many other parts of the world. Let's say if there is a format that is different from the standard one that we need time to take conversion. But it is not impossible. And Hong Kong is a very, very important city to us. And I do believe that the 3D pedestrian map will be very useful and make our result even better. So this is certainly something we will have on the roadmap. So I think when we talk about the green minibus data, Ricky, we invite even more questions about that. So I think the major question is, can you share more about the future plan of providing the real time? What is the timeline? What is the major challenge over there?
I think the timeline, it is by 2022, that means next year, all the green minibus, the ETA data will be available and be published to the public. So we are now already released about the 75 routes, and then the remainder will be just within a year or more. Then we will release all of them. This is our timeline. If I share about the difficulty, I think it is one of the particular operating situation in Hong Kong. Actually, I think when I prepare about the open data of the bus, you have the similar problem, but the green minibus is even bigger, the problem. You know, the operation mode of the green minibus is actually they have no schedule time. Although you have some schedule, but whenever the bus is in full capacity, they will just start. Will not wait for any time. And maybe they know there's a few passengers in the next stop. Then the driver will discuss with each other, okay, just leave the station and then come. So the problem it is we can estimate the next three bus, the coming time. But we just rely on the original schedule. But suddenly, this schedule will change because, okay, whenever the bus already full, then we will now start. So all our schedule will be changed suddenly. So you will appear to be not too reliable, but actually it is the real operation situation. It's always similar to the problem because like many operators or ask us, okay, why we not use the GMFS standard format in our open data, but we say, oh, we can't because in Hong Kong, we are not like the foreign country. They have a very rigid schedule operation time. Certainly, most of them are very rigid. Okay, when the bus comes to stop, they will wait until that minutes to out because their frequency is so rare. But in Hong Kong, it's quite different. In this problem is particularly very severe in the green minibus. So it's one of the difficulty that when we compile about the ETA data for green minibus, and this is one of the difficult. And also because their stop may be too close, maybe. So the time for calculating this data, the accuracy is very difficult to have highly reliable, not just like a long route, you have a quite certain situation because it fluctuates a lot. So this is one of the difficulty, but other than that, I think the operation and then the development is similar to other ETA application.
Yeah, I think, and green minibus, the stop is not permanent, right? The stop can be moved as well, actually.
No. If green minibus, the stop is fixed, but they can allow on certain routes. If not, there's no restriction. They can stop and pick up. And no, but the stop is fixed.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Yeah. I certainly understand that situation because it took me quite a lot of time to explain to my colleague in London as well what minibus is actually about. And let's don't even go to red minibus. Yeah. So, but I have a good news for you, Ricky. That is an extended format of GTFS called GTFS Flex. And it's designed for on-demand service. Let's check it out and see whether it will help you.
Okay, thank you.
Great. Cool. So before I move on to more floor question, I do have another one for the three gentlemen as well, but starting with Ricky again, because you guys recently also revamped the e-mobility app.
Yeah.
So now actually this transport department is a data provider, a platform for operators, and also you are a data consumer, app developer as well.
Yeah.
I want to see what you have learned from that journey, as you said, as an app developer, and more importantly about the quality of the data. And at the end of this conversation, I would really give an opportunity for Jean and Kenneth to respond to the quality part of the question, like how they can improve the quality on their side.
Yes, yes. Okay. Yes, what I said. We also the investor as well. We are investing on the system to build the green minibus. But first of all, I must mention it is a government or transport department is not aimed to be a big player in this market. Actually, we very like or encourage the community, the industry to build a excellent application, because our aim it is to put forward the smart city concept or implement the smart city in Hong Kong. We are not saying that transport department do everything. That's why I want to say in my slide, we are just a partner. But why we do so many things as a developer, data provider, consumer, everything? Because on the journey, we must take first, because I know for some company or startup, they are very difficult to build a new application for this. So if we gather some kind of data that we think is valuable or useful to the general public, we will think of the use case and then develop it. You can say it is the first application, maybe just like City Mapper, you can build an app based on that, because all the information contained in the application normally is already open. So everyone will get hold of this data. They can make it more presentable or in a better shape. But without our app, actually, maybe the user take quite a long time to make use of this data, or maybe they do not know how the data can be used. So we take this role as the starter of this journey. And also, what you're talking about, okay, what is our feeling about it? It is during this journey or the process as a consumer app developer, so we more understand or know what is the importance of the data quality, and more user-centric look the issue, okay, from the user point of view. Is not only to provide the data, we will thinking about what the user will most useful to them, all these things. So it will improve the quality of data provided by the government, particularly on the transport data. So I think it is the learning or our role in this part.
So what about the quality? Are you happy with the quality at the moment? Like, do you, because I can tell you, every part of the world, the transport data is really messy. It is, I'm not saying the operator intentionally make mistake in it, but I think the transport system is complex enough that you need a lot of robots and also human to make it correct. So from your experience as an app developer, do you feel like you're happy with the quality provided by Jean and Kenneth at the moment?
Okay, as a developer, I'm very happy for their provide data, because no matter what data they provide, it reflects the situation. But certainly speaking, actually, you know, just what you said, actually, data, you cannot guarantee is 100% correct, actually. It's also always a lot of hiccup. So it's about how to handle the error handling and the data cleansing is the part of these things. I think it's the responsibility of all the developer to do this part, data cleansing and error handling. So we put a lot of effort on it. I'm not saying that, okay, your data is not so good, so I cannot do a good app. It's not an excuse for me, not an excuse. But from
excuse for City Mapper as well.
But from this, we know, okay, what's the problem of the data, And then we will go to the data provider and say, okay, can you make this better? Or how we can improve it together. So it is our attitude. Because we have received a lot of complaints saying that, okay, this data is not correct. Even a developer, because we have 1823 government complaint channel. So we also receive a lot of complaint. But we take this complaint as our improvement suggestion. So we know there are some problem in some area. Okay, we try to fix it out. And it's very helpful for the public transport operator like Kenneth. Yeah, if we find some problem or that there's some area data, we go to him and then their company will fix it very quickly. So it is a happy collaboration for me.
I think one thing I would disagree to is I'm not sure that the government has to build their own app to lead the roadmap, because I do think that if you provide the data, it is already the best resources. You don't have to help the industry to figure out the use case. Instead, I think the provision of the data itself is really good enough, and then really should let the people who are professional in it to do their work. I'm not only speaking for CityMapper ourselves, it's also in many other use cases, like we have a participant just asked about the air quality kind of thing. That they are expert in that area. I don't think the government will have to develop an app to talk about data quality or noise pollution in order to lead the role of getting more open data in that area. That doesn't make sense, right?
Okay, but I take just one example. For example, in our HKE mobility app, we have just like say the walking route. Normally, the normal walking application, you will provide the most direct way how from point A to point B. But for our application, we will provide one. It is for the handicapped person. It's one option is for there's some visual handicap, such like this. I just take an example. When doing the app, we will take the other consideration. I understand, because if you are app developer, you have some business concern. You will serve the most population or your target group. But for the government, we will serve every citizen. So we will take chance to make some little bit consideration in different type of user. I just take this example. So it is not only say that okay, the data is already good enough, so the developer will do it. I'm not too fully agree of it. But if we do it, okay, the developer can say, okay, government already do it. We just leave it government do. Or okay, this is a good opportunity or good area to explore. Okay, they can further develop it. It's both of way. I'm happy with it.
Yeah. I think we can agree to disagree.
Certainly, this is the discussion.
Yeah. So go back to the quality. Is Jin and Kenneth, can you talk about what work can be done on your side to improve the quality in terms of making sure the data reflecting the real world? I think it's really messy to make sure every single journey and every single train or bus stop is correct. So what can be done on your side?
Actually, the bus transit is much more have a concern to how to get it inaccurate. We have almost from this when we have first launched the ET in the city fire is in the city airport buses is already in 2011. So this is almost 10 years before. So we use our own algorithm or our experience to try to figure out all the issues we encountered to what Ricky said is some incident that they're causing some troubles to the passenger, not showing the correct the time or the journey to the passenger. So what's left behind is because the road traffic is always changing changing every time. Sometimes you have the normal traffic, but however, sometimes you got, for example, got a traffic accident. So all the estimated arrival time may be adjusted. So there's some kind of problem we have encountered, but not yet have a good solution. So we are still looking for in the future when we have get more information from transport department, from other operator, or from road sensors, we can detect more changes of in the road which may affect our bus service. So such that we can have an early detection and inform the passengers to make our data in more accurate. So this is the way we are going.
Sounds great. Yeah, that's exactly why I mentioned earlier that the real-time location is important, because it is definitely part of the formula.
Yeah, on our side, it's like well, we have the trains and light rail real-time data. So for that, obviously our signal link systems would have the most accurate information, but that, you know, for safety reasons, that is a separate system compared to, like, you know, our open data that is actually going into the consumer app. So there is definitely, like, you know, improvements that we could make in actually getting like these two systems to be more in sync. But you know, there are also challenges because all these systems are developed during different times as we develop our network. So they are of different, you can say, like, era, or, like, you know, the systems like that is built actually in the 80s, like, may not be, you know, have certain things that is needed for very accurate, like, you know, real-time information digitally. So this is something that, you know, we need to see, like, how we can actually tackle this. As for the buses that we actually run, there is also challenges in actually getting, like, better quality, let's say, like ETA. This is something that also needs to, you know, be further processed to increase its accuracy. For example, like, you know, there may be inaccuracies in the GPS signal, and all this thing would lead to inaccurate ETA. So you know, this is something that we also need to further figure out and put in resources to improve.
Sounds good. Really looking forward to improvement of the data quality, really. Because I do think with better data quality, although CityMapper is doing a lot of cleanup ourselves, but we are still looking for in the better quality in the open data, because that will level up the playing ground, and then we can do more innovation on top of that. So that's really something I think all the players in the industry is looking for as well. So going back to the floor questions. I think there's I'm not quite sure what's the example or which operators it's directing to, but a question about some operators are still sharing data over their closed channel, which means it's not really open data. And many cities have set laws to share data publicly. Can Hong Kong follow this path? And if it is in the law, the private company to outsource the risk, in particular those of what is, I think the question is, what is the personal data privacy risk that will entail? Since it's about lawmaking, maybe Ricky, do you have any thoughts?
This is a big question because it's touched about the actually it's open data policy. It's not the transport issue. It's not I'm at the position to comment on of it. Maybe the other forum about the audio, it is the best person to it. But currently actually, because how we handle it, it is I can just share just as a sharing, just like some. We have provided some parking vacancy information. Take this as example. We approach different type of operator and encourage them to open up their data. But some developer will choose, they open up to the Hong Kong e-mobility, but not open up to the government.gov.hk. You understand the case? It is okay. Because under the current practice, if the data put on the data.gov.hk, it is purely open data. Everyone can make use of it without any concern. You can do it in your business without the copyright or anything need to be concerned. But if you open it in our Hong Kong e-mobility, we still have some IP condition. You cannot take it and do your business, because I just disclose it for your information. You cannot extract it and manipulate it, do the other things. So it's different type. So the question it is, okay, maybe we, if anyone want to open their data on the government now, the data platform, then you just certainly it is open data. So it is no concern of it. So, but if you have particular concern, so that's why I suggest the model that, okay, maybe you do not trust or do not really want to freely open your data, but you have actually, there's no particular sensitive issue, and that data may be benefit to the society. Maybe you can think, okay, you can open to the government. Maybe you got, if it is a transport data, you open it up to the transport department, and then we will massage it and then disseminate into the other format, but still useful for the public. That's just what I just sharing. But the question about itself, it is talking about how Hong Kong to handle the open data. This is involve the legal and then also data policy.
But do you, maybe not only Ricky, but Jean and Kenneth, do you think this is something you would prefer or you would worry about if we have a law to enforce that you have to open up certain type of data? Is it better for you, or is this actually no?
It's hard to say, because I'm not sure what's the policy in the world about the law. You have to provide this kind of data, because that actually there's a lot of data you can mention, for example the ETA and also, or the bus wheel location. So I just have a big concern if we have to enforce it by law, what kind of data we have to provide. Should we provide all kinds of data? What's the consequence we have to provide? And also how the investment we have to pay state when we open it to the public. So this is another issue we have to think about. If it's okay, if the law is enforced, we have to provide under the law, we have to, but there's a lot of investment we may have to do. At the end, our operation, our revenue will get lost, and also we will get more failing risk. So it's now is already we have a lot of concern about our fare. So the public may have to know about that. This is a balance between you open what kind of data, the data amount, or the investment have to pay this on this amount. In returns of the public have to pay more fare at the end. So is any all the public willing to do this, or may not? So this is a one of concern we have to think about this.
Yeah, it is not a simple thing, definitely. I mean, there are many things to consider with such types of laws, and I think there are just like many forces at play. It's not something that I can just comment on here. Yep.
Maybe I can share some light on the international experience. I do think it is right that it's a lot of places have the law in place to mandate opening up the data. And usually that type of data we are talking about is static and ETA. And in some cities, it's disruption data, like which train is not running at what time, which bus is diverted at what time, this kind of level of public information. So far, I can't see any like very sensitive information is required to provide in that open data law in many places we are operating in. But I do want to highlight one thing is if Hong Kong is really going to do that to an extent, I hope, again, I want to bring back the quality conversation, which is because I don't think making a law resolve all the questions we have about open data. There are places with the law, with the open data, but the data is next to useless. I'm not saying that we shouldn't have the law because of that, that's wrong. I'm saying that if we are going to imply such a law, then we need to think through, first of all, what data, like Kenneth said, what kind of data we are actually asking to open up and what quality we are talking about. Are we, like frequency of update is the basic level of data quality game, because we have seen places like they update once a year. And I'm like, no way, it's just outdated, right? So this kind of discussion, I think, really have to go through the public and see what we can do in terms of balancing the cost and benefit. One more, another question from the floor is that under Hong Kong copyright audience, data is protected under clause 4. Wow, it's a law student or someone in law. A combination of data or other material in any form, which by reason of the selection of arrangement of its content constitutes an intellectual creation, including but not limiting to a table. So the criterion for copyrightability is intellectual creation. If the ETA is just some direct reading record from the system, is this type of data copyrightable? This is a very specific and law-related question again, so I would actually defer to Ricky again.
Actually, because I'm not the legal expert, I cannot comment, or maybe I wrongly interpret his question. But I think he's concerned about the ETA data, whether it's copyrightable. It is what I've mentioned. If it is opened in our open data platform, that one you will not have a copyright issue, because you can freely use it in your business or in taking it for your other application. Actually, it's the case in Hong Kong now. Many applications without have a procedure of application saying that you download the data and then use it in your app. You don't need to do it. You just download it from that platform and then you make use of that data to build the system on it. So I think, particularly for ETA data in the open data platform, I think it is not too much concern about the copyright. But if it's in a generic sense to say it, I difficult to comment on it.
But what is an example of data that will have copyright issue in your experience?
Because I'm not handling of this thing. Because so what I said, all the data we can give out, I will put it in the open data platform. We assume that okay, everyone can use of it.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe if the answer is not for you, that whoever asked that question can give us a follow-up question as well, so that it will help clarify the exact question. Thank you. Yeah. Cool. So one last question so far. I mean, if you have more questions, please float in. We still have some time. But one last question is interesting for me as well. What about getting data from the taxi operators? How to convince them of the benefit of open data and data sharing, especially in promoting intermodal service like MTR taxi and then bus taxi? Like I think the questioner is asking about what we call multimodal, like connecting different modes of transport in one journey. If the question is sent to me, but I think you guys might have some different opinions as well, because really one major use case here we are talking about is taking a taxi to then take a bus or to then take a MTR. So that might be useful. But from my perspective, I think I think taxi operators in Hong Kong is, first of all, very, very hard to get to because we are talking about individuals. We are not talking about companies usually. Of course, now we have like different apps to do the ride hauling. And they are in some sense quite small as well because as we know, some global ride hauling companies not allowed to operate in Hong Kong. So I think that my answer to this question would be, it is definitely doable to do that because we already have global example. So the real question from me is actually, are we still talking to Uber or any other ride hauling companies? And also the local developer of the ride hauling service connecting to the taxi drivers, are they, I think they are quite open to talk as well. So is it something that Transport Department can help them, or is it on the roadmap at all?
Actually, we know the concern about whether they have some operation. Actually, this operation data in some sense of the tax. Just what you have mentioned. Actually, there's already on the market. There's some app or some group of taxi. They have their apps to manage the operation or doing some booking, some kind of these things. Because usually the taxi operation in Hong Kong, we will not have too much control. We just control their fares, their eligibility to operate on road, safety, all these kind of things. But the daily operation, normally the government will not have very highly control them. So, but for this aspect about the ETA, so one of the way it is actually Hacken has mentioned, actually we have a smart traffic fund. For the preparing of the smart traffic fund, we have received some inquiry or that, okay, they want to develop some application for the taxi operation. So I know there's someone in the field that want to build or do something. But for us, we try every means to encourage them to open up the data. If some taxi operators say they have this kind of data, they want to open up to the public, we very welcome of it. But if you're thinking of a system or a mechanism or a roadmap, how to develop these kind of things, I think we are not at the point that we can have a very concrete idea on it. But we will encourage they develop their solution or discuss with us how they can do it.
It's from the operator perspective, is there anything from the data side would you believe it will help this kind of multimodal journey, like encouraging people to take a taxi and the MTR combination? I'm not quite sure people would take a taxi and then a bus, sorry about that. But so maybe Jean, do you have any thought on what kind of data you would need to encourage people to do MTR and taxi combination journey?
I mean, obviously, I mean, there's no unified platform for, taxi taking, right? Like basically we have different taxi apps that allows people to call different taxis. So if we were to do some kind of integration between connecting different modes, we would need to have to contact different players or work with or choose certain players, right? So I mean, when we do that, we okay, yeah. So basically, what I'm getting at is that basically we need to choose, right, who we work with, and need to then like figure out how that data exchange actually work to unify that experience. And as we all know, there is the planning aspect, there is the booking aspect, and then ultimately there's the paying aspect. So how do you actually tie all this together to create a good user experience is key.
Yeah, it's a good highlight that payment is an important part of the transport system, actually. So I think one thing, I think it's improving, but it's still quite lacking, is the smart payment system across the taxi platform. I think some of them already use Octopus or even some touchless technology to allow payment, but it is not very widespread at this moment. So maybe that's something we can, it's actually a great motivation for them to open up their data, because if you open up the data, then you get new customers, and maybe we can bundle it with some payment platform as well. Then it will be a great combination of service offer. And then I think from my point of, I have an interesting idea just when you guys are talking, is to encourage taxi driver to open up their data. Maybe it's not that complicated, because I think every single driver has a lot of mobile phone on their panel anyway. So to get their GPS location is like, it should be painless. Maybe if anyone, as Ricky said, if anyone want to take part in the, sorry, what's it called again? A Smart Transport Challenge? What's the fund? Yeah, the Smart Transport Fund. Yeah. Anyone want to take up the challenge to participate and then develop something to get all this GPS location from the taxi driver? That will be really, really great. Cool. So I think we have cleaned the floor, and if any further follow-up question, I think we can always talk about it in many other occasions. Thanks today for all the participants. I think as a closing remark, I really want to say, I think we are a group of people here facing a very unique, I really have to highlight that again, a unique public transport challenge in Hong Kong, that we are facing the density, the complexity, and the level of privatization that no other city is facing in the public transport network. And it's very great that we have this group of people to keep thinking about how to utilize the latest data solution to figure out the problem. I think from the conversation just now, we have some highlights on how to improve the quality, the data formats that we can use, and also who should be the aggregator of data, because we are talking about different players in this industry, in this very small city. But who can play the leading role of aggregating the data and then share it to the public for wider use and good social impact? The government can do something, the industry can do something. I think everyone who have the technology and the great idea can do something, because now we have this smart transport fund. We understand that there is some sensitivity in some information that the operators might not want to share, but we also get the challenging question about why this is copyrightable, why this is sensitive at all, because these are apparently public information. So hopefully after this discussion, we all understand a little better what's the expectation from different sides of the society. So really thank you for the participation today. Dr. Hagen, do you have anything to add?
I do not have anything to add, actually. The discussion is really fruitful and very informative. And I would like to thank first our moderator, Bessie Ho, and also the three panelists, Ricky Ho, Jin Su, and Kenneth Litt. And of course, I would like to thank you, the SSRC of Hong Kong U, for organizing this conference. And you can see a list of organizing committee members. Of them help a lot in organizing this conference, and especially, I think, unfortunately, Professor John Bacon-Shone I think he's still teaching, and he put a lot of effort in organizing this conference. And unfortunately, he's going to retire soon. I personally would like to convince him to continue to push open data, but it's really up to him. So thank you again for his effort. And also we have about 30 supporting organizations. And we would also like to give our thanks to all this organization. And last but not least, we're going to send everyone a feedback form. It's unfortunately that the conference have to end, and we really like to know your opinion on the conference and also how we can improve. And we are looking at how we're going to organize the fourth Open Data Conference. And so please check your email and give us some feedback. And so this concludes the Open Data Conference, and we hope to see you in the next conference. Okay, thank you.
Cheers. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hmm.